I normally don't do things like this, but the beautiful thing about having your own channel and your own platform is that you can do whatever the hell you want. So I decided I'm gonna add another part to this channel called album reviews, but it won't be so much of a comprehensive album review like you'll see on a lot of other channels. It'll be more of a like gut reaction to when I hear the songs. I just want to be authentic and organic as possible. So when I first was thinking about doing this, I was like, yo, should I like write out a bunch of notes and a list and things like that and read off of that and talk about the tracks? And for copyright reasons, I can't play the tracks on here, but what I can do is take it back to the old school and make you feel like you're riding in a hoopty with me right now and we bumping a new album and we just getting immediate feedback from it. So I feel like by doing these album reviews, I'm able to break down what the album really means. It's more of a album translation, so I can break it down so people really understand it, from what the bars mean to what the story is all about and to what it was really getting at, and even some of the pop culture references people here in Australia or even back in America might not be up on. And that's what I'm doing with this. So I'm just gonna jam out to the album, play it, and I promise you, don't mind my ugly faces. The uglier the face I put on, the better the song. So I'm just gonna make this as organic as possible. I'm gonna jam out through the album, then I'll stop it from time to time and kind of talk about what they're getting at in the songs. And I'm just gonna start it straight up from the top. Let's do it. All right, I'll stop it right there. Probably not even a minute in, he gets in and he talks about his relationship with Kanye and how he gave him $20 million. Then he gave him 20 minutes on the stage when Kanye went on this rant and went off and talked all that shit. But what I really love about this track, and I'm talking about Kill Jay-Z, so the first track on the album, what I really love about it is that he's talking about killing his alter ego, right? That was getting into all this bullshit. And if you really look at it, on this album, he actually brought the hyphen back in his name, and that's something we hadn't seen since, I don't know, like 2003 or some shit. I don't even know. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember he took the hyphen out a long time ago, and it's kind of like he's playing like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like the nigga that didn't have the hyphen was making him do all this shit, and now by bringing the hyphen back, he's back to the old Jay-Z. You know what I mean? And that's what he's talking about. So this song is literally talking about killing that alter ego of Jay-Z. He talks about how he calls, you know, Solange to kick the shit out of him in that elevator. All he had to do was just say he was wrong. You know, obviously he just admitted that it was over some bullshit that he was going through with Beyoncé, whether he was cheating on her or not. He just admitted that it was his fault in the elevator. I think those are the key takeaways. The Kanye lines when he's talking about you lost your principles, when he said you dropped out of school, you lost your principles. I love this cat's wordplay. Like he's literally talking about Kanye, quote unquote, the college dropout, and he lost his principles. And then he goes to how he gave him money, and he's just like saying fuck everybody, and he owes some bullshit right now. So he talks about that, and he talks about the Solange thing, among others. But the main takeaway from this first track is just that he's talking about killing his alter ego, and that was a cat that didn't have the hyphen in his name, Jay-Z without the hyphen. Now J-Z is back, and that's really what this first track is about. And I'm gonna be commenting on the production as I go through, but the super dope thing that I love about this is that he's actually using one producer, and that's No ID. For you cats that don't know who No ID was, that's actually Kanye's mentor. Like back in the day, as the legend tells it, Kanye's mom Donda went to No ID and was like, yo, can you teach my son how to get into music? You know, can you teach him how to make beats? And then somehow she convinced No ID to take little Kanye underneath his wing. So when you listen to the production now, I'm sure a lot of you being like, yo, that sounds like old Kanye. But not really, that's just No ID, you feel me? A lot of people that miss the old Kanye probably really love this one, because this is the style that he adopted from No ID, and then Kanye took it and put his own twist on it and morphed it into something else. But I fucking love it, because it's like old school boom bap, sample beats, and all these tracks have one producer, so you see the cohesion there with it. Hold up. Jay said, OJ was like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. But the funny thing about it, like, OJ Simpson thought I can get away with all that bullshit. But just like Jay saying, like, rich nigga, po nigga, false nigga, field nigga, you still a nigga. That's what he talking about in this song. And they really talking about the black experience, you know what I mean? About how no matter what you do, you still gonna be classified as a nigga. Let me just play a little bit more so I can remember some of those other lines and break them down. Then we jump to the next one. Alright, basically, I mean, the gist of this one was pretty easy to get with this track. It's just all about black empowerment, which I think is super important at a time like this, when you got somebody like Donald Trump in office, and you know what I mean, and a lot of the things that went forward with Barack are now being pushed backwards. The only way to really get out of that is to own your own shit. So he's like saying, don't die with the neighborhood that your mama read. So even where I'm from in the States, and especially in LA, especially in New York, pretty much everywhere, people repping these neighborhoods, whether it be the North Side, the West Side, or the Bronx, or Brooklyn, or whatever. You know what I mean? That they don't even own that shit. You know what I mean? It's a spot that their moms rented in, just so happened, and then they take the pride in that and represent this neighborhood, and then they killing each other over the bullshit. That's not the way forward. So that's why I really love the narrative that he's pushing on this album, and it really starts with this story of OJ's song. Alright, let's jump into the next one, which is called Smile, featuring his mom's Gloria Carter. I'm sure you already know what this is about, but I'll cover it anyway. Let's go. Boom, there it is. 38 seconds in, he dropped the bombshell on everybody. Mama had 4 kids, but she a lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's what this track is all about, and that's one of the major like themes of this album. But I think it's great that his mom was actually able to come out, and we live in a time where she can feel comfortable with that. And she just talks about in the poem later how, you know, she had to basically be closeted and hide her real feelings. You know what I mean? So I think it's super dope, man. And I think the narrative that he's pushing, that it's okay to be vulnerable. I think like the era that we all grew up in, you know, and I'm talking about probably like black males from shit that's probably 25 to 50 or even 30 to 50. You know what I mean? And right now is that it was cool to be tough. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't cool to be vulnerable. You know, I feel like somebody like Drake also helped push that narrative forward by being super vulnerable on his records and talking about his feelings and shit. So I think it's super dope, man, for him to really finally open up and let people in, and even, you know, provide a platform for his mom to actually come out as her true self and not have to hide behind not have to hide anymore and fear the repercussions of it. You know what I mean? I think it's super, super dope. You know, I think it's a super dope poem that she wrote. It's funny, like, if she wrote that, like, mom's got bars, for real. Like, go back and read what the poem said. Like, Jay-Z's mom got some bars. Don't let it come out that low-key she was ghostwriting all Jay-Z's shit back in the early days, but shout out to Gloria Carter, much respect. Let's hit the next one, which is Caught in Their Eyes, featuring my boy Frank Ocean. Alright, and this one with Caught Their Eyes, I mean, really what I take from it is it's just talking about all the fake ones out there that are smiling in your face and talk behind your back. One real poignant story that he told is like how he grew up around motherfuckers that would like kill a motherfucker, go to the funeral, and then go tell their mother that he's sorry for the loss. You know what I mean? Like, that's some real shit. And then he's saying that he can catch side eyes in his sleep. You know, so really this is just talking about all the fake ones that are smiling in your face, and then, you know what I mean, act like they're really your friends. You know, that's what that story's all about on this one. Super dope, man. I'm still digging the narrative with it. Let's jump into the title track, 444. Alright, but 444, like I said, it's the title track, and what Jay was saying in the interview, he woke up at 4:44 a.m. to write this song, and really, this is what really pushes into like his version of Lemonade, when he's talking about all the infidelities and all the bullshit that he put, you know what I mean, that he put Beyoncé through. And he's like, I often womanized, I had to have a daughter so I can see through a woman's eyes. So he's talking about, you know what I mean, how he was on his bullshit up until he had his daughter, and even after. You know, he had to have his twins to believe in miracles. So it's something that I can relate to personally, you know what I mean, as a guy who was out there, quote unquote, doing this thing and just being like full of shit to women and not doing, you know, not doing well by women. This is something that's really, you know, that resonates with me, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there as well that can relate to it. And once again, you know what I mean, I think the true mark of a real one is being able to ask for forgiveness and admit when he was wrong. You know what I mean? So I know I was wrong when I was out there, like, not doing right and just, you know, playing with women's emotions and on that bullshit. So it's something I can relate to, and I've apologized, you know, to a lot of those women, you know, and the only thing I can do to make it up is be the best father and the best, you know what I mean, the best man I can right now for who I'm with. So I love this shit. Once again, I love the narrative he's pushing. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to be faithful to your woman. You know, it's cool to own your own shit. You know what I mean? And it's cool to be remorseful and to say you're sorry and to admit when you was wrong. I love it, man. And this is one of my favorite tracks off the album. You feel me? Let's jump over to Family Feud now. Yo, he just said, "Oh niggas, y'all stop acting brand new," and then y'all acting like Tupac ain't have a nose ring too, which is super dope, man. And that's something I can find myself like guilty of as well, like hating on the young rappers, whether that's Migos and Lil Yachty and the cast is out there that I feel like I can't relate to their narrative. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was also 19 or 21 once as well, so the shit they're talking about, you know, that's their lane. So let them do them, and I'm gonna do me. And Jay-Z made this album for people like me, you feel me? But I love when he calls out himself and then in turn calling us out as well about hating on the new school, you know what I mean? Another killer line, he said, "Ain't no such thing as an ugly billionaire, nigga, I'm cute," you know what I mean? And that's the truth, man. I just love when he's speaking on facts, man. That's just a killer line. Yo, then he like, "Fuck rap, crack cocaine," then he says, "Nah, I did that, now black owned things." And he's just going forward and pushing that narrative, man, of black empowerment and how we really gotta own our shit if we want to forge ahead. My man said, "What's better than one billionaire? Two, especially if they from the same hue as you." You know what I mean? I think that's talking about a lot of things, but we could be talking about him and Beyoncé, talking about him and Diddy, you know, him and Dre, and the cast is really out there doing their thing, you know. So I'm loving these bars, man. Like, nobody has the metaphors and double entendres like Jay-Z. Nobody out there right now, man. Yo, just when Beyonce comes in and hit that high note with that amen, just shit just gives you chills, man. Like, this shit is real music right now. I'm loving it. I also love how he said, "I'll fuck up a good thing if you let me." Once again, man, just being open and honest with his music. He even tells Becky to leave him alone. Becky with the good hair. But my man said, "Your whole past is in danger, 10 Mississippi." Like, oof, that wordplay is just so damn dope. You know what I mean? Like, for a cat that's growing up playing like touch football, like in the hood, we'd have a count like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And when you got to 10, that's when we could actually rush you and tag or tackle you as a quarterback. But he used that and saying pass and past is in danger and like put them together, like dope wordplay, ridiculous. Anyway, I can stay on this track all day. Let's move on to Bam featuring Damon Marley. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the rare features that he has on the album, and nobody else has a verse. It's just kind of like compliment him, so pretty much holding this on his own. And this one, this is just a flex track right here, like point blank period. He talking about all the young cats out there on Instagram feel like they flexing, flashing, you know, guns and shit, like they're really popping. But he's just saying, you know, I've been had that money, you know, like I've been about this life, don't test me. That's really what this track is all about. Lauryn Hill sample? What was that, Fuji's? Fire. Yo, basically that's just two flex tracks back to back, Bam and Moonlight. Like, shit, I thought he was talking about Instagram and Bam, but it must have been Moonlight when he was talking about cats flexing. But that's really all it is, man. And he uses that Fuji sample to basically say that these cats out there in La La Land thinking they're really doing it and they're really flexing, but they ain't really doing shit. So that's like two flex tracks back to back. You gotta have them in there. This is J-Z, not J without the hyphen, so I understand it. And on his Marcy Me track, man, he just really going back and reflecting on where he came from, and then he throws in like all the pop culture references of when Pam was still on Martin, and a bunch of other ones in there as well to remind you, oh, when like MJ was getting beat by the Pistons and all that shit, to kind of paint that vivid picture of what that back in the day was, man. So I love it, man. That's one thing Jay-Z can always do, just by telling simple stories, and they can transport you back in time to remember what you was doing around those times in the life you was going through, man. So super dope album. I love the message, man. I love what he's talking about. Let's jump into the last track, which is called Legacy. I love this closing track. He just talks about the legacy, which is something a lot of black folks don't really talk about. Talking about passing on Rock Nation, talking about passing stuff on to his family members, you know, and empowering future generations. And I feel like that's what sets us apart from other cultures, is that we rather tear each other down and actually lift each other up. So that's something I really feel like this album is pushing with the narrative, and I hope this album is going to inspire other rappers out there to also talk about these type of things about black excellence and black empowerment. Just by saying black excellence and black empowerment don't mean that we're being racist and trying to bring down any other race. We're just taking ownership of what's ours and just trying to bring each other up instead of tearing each other down, man. That was the album review, just a real quick one, just as I played the tracks and went through and what my first thoughts was. And I wanted that to feel very organic, like you was riding in the car with me, like we used to do back in the day, with all the windows down, just blasting it and just having that conversation, like song by song, as we went through. Like, I really, really love what he's pushing with this narrative. I love those soul beats, and I love to hear an album with just one producer on it to kind of have that cohesiveness with it. And man, No ID is a monster. If this is your first time being introduced to No ID, please go back and check the discography, whether that's early Common stuff, some of the stuff he did recently with Big Sean. Just go peep him out, man, because like I said, that's the cat that inspired Kanye. So if you young cats feel like Kanye West is great, like peep out No ID. He's the real like Yoda of this shit, you feel me? But I appreciate you guys checking me out. I'm very excited to have another little thing to add to my YouTube channel with these album reviews, and hopefully you learned something.